fired up a little bit of ire in the comments section, in a few different spots regarding the linebacking situation because of, again, the thought out there that the guys that are in the backup roles right now, the more seemingly athletic players aren't starting, and basically because Werner and Borland, those two being picked out in particular because they got there first and nailed down those starting spots. They're the incumbents, and that's all the coaching staff is looking at, and they're not replacing those. I don't necessarily know that that would be backed up by the decisions that have been made for playing time in other positions on the field, offense and defense, Tony.
Yeah, the lack of athleticism among the starters, I would argue that there's a singular reason why somebody might think Pete Werner is not athletic enough to do what he's doing. And this is a guy who plays outside linebacker, plays the Sam, has defended slots, had to rotate deep safety, did well doing that last year. That's not something you ask linebackers to do. And he's 6'2", 6'3", 240 pounds. So I don't want to hear that he's not athletic, because he is. And I'll probably lead the team in tackles this year if they move him to will, like they're talking about in the spring. I mean, this is a guy that everybody on the team swears by. Coaches, players, everybody loves him. Did he have some issues in 2018? Yeah, he was asked to defend J.D. Spielman out wide. I'm like, that's Ohio State cornerbacks weren't doing that very well in 2018. So, I'm not here for any Pete Werner slander. You can say what you want about Tough Borland. He's a captain. He starts every year. Different coaches start him. No, he's not the fastest guy. You don't need to be as a middle linebacker. Baron Browning's supposed to be really fast. I saw Trevor Lawrence pull away from him last year in a Clemson game. So, yeah, Kayvon Pope is great. I love watching him. He's had a couple of interceptions last year. We all want to see what Taraja Mitchell can do. They have an opportunity. They've gotten to play. There's a competition every year to be the starter, and it's Tough Borland, Pete Werner have won jobs with multiple linebacker coaches. So I'm not here for any Pete Werner slander.
We all love what's behind curtain number 2. That's why the Let's Make a Deal was so popular back in the 70s, and then they brought it back with I think Wayne Brady doing it. I mean, everybody wants to see the guy that's not out there at this point. And what happens if they slide Baron Browning to more of a rush-in type of stand-up guy? I mean, you still have Justin Hilliard coming back for his 63rd year in the program. I mean, Justin Hilliard, he made some big plays down the stretch for this team. So, you can't forget about him. But, I think year 2 under Al Washington, I think we will see an opportunity for some of these. It's hard to use the term young guys because they've been in the program for a couple of years, but I think we'll see more of a rotation. But at the end of the day, you want to have your best 11 out there. And if they deem that the best 11 is with Messrs. Werner, Borland, and whether it's Hilliard or Browning or whatnot, then that's who's they're going to trot out there.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt about it. And I think the good news is they're too deep at every position with a quality player. And I think that listening to Al Washington talk, he is committed to playing both guys at each spot. And, whether it's a 60-40 basis or 80-20 or whatever it may be, but they're all going to get an opportunity to play. And I think that's what people need to focus on, and kind of look toward the fall with some excitement to know there'll be some fresh blood out there running around at times. Some guys, like Pope and Mitchell and Ant that haven't been given those opportunities in the past, and they're going to get every chance to play as many snaps as they're able to play. So I think that's going to be an exciting development this fall. And the seniors that are coming back, great leaders. And Ohio State's had a very good defense here the last year or two, I suppose. And I think those guys have been part of it. And I think, we're looking forward to what should be, again, a team that contends for a championship. I don't think one position is going to sink or swim this team. I think it's, if they have a bunch of guys who are new starters that come in and can't compete, can't play at that level, then they'll have a problem. But I don't foresee that being an issue.
You know, one last thing, one other thing on like Taraja Mitchell, everybody wants to see him. And I've had people tell me like he should be the middle linebacker. And I have to remind them, like, he's not even playing middle linebacker. Dallas Gant is at middle linebacker, and Mitchell is at the wheel. So it's like he's not even involved in a position. And you have some people who think he's clearly the best one. The staff doesn't even want him at middle linebacker right now because he's not there. So I sometimes get a little amped up when the linebacker talk comes on. But as Steve said, there's 7 guys there who are juniors or seniors, and they're all going to play. Just, you know how we don't complain about the defensive line, like Zach Harrison should be starting, Tyreek Smith should be starting. They all play. They're all starters. Nick Bosa had 10 career starts, but he was always in there.
As Kevin alluded to, I think there's also a thought process generally among a fan base that if the position's not quite up to what the standard is supposed to be, it's always that the quote-unquote backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on the roster. That's why recruiting is, there's so much enamored toward recruiting. Those guys must be better than the guys we have. Let's get them in. We're excited about them. Let's get them in because they have to be better than we just went 13-1. Those guys have to be better. Let's get them in. And I also just think from a perspective, depending on your age, you have to adjust to today's football and what the expectations are for defensive play and offensive play, meaning that the quarterback who goes 15-10 TD to pick ratio with 58% completion percentage, college football quarterback 10 or 15 years ago, it's a pretty good season. Now, unless he's not getting the support elsewhere, he needs to hit the bench because, man, you got to complete 65, 68% of your passes, and that holds true for the defensive side. The days of holding good teams down to 10 and 13 points a game and 150 or 80 yards of total offense just ain't happening. These kids come into campus, and the pitch and catch proficiency is just out of the off the radar in regards to just their ability to do that and play offensive football and run more plays. So they're going to gain more yardage and score more points. And the expectations of a defense and what they're able to do against a decent offense needs to be tempered to a certain extent.